Accumulating snow on the way tonight. Will it be our last of the season? We'll detail that coming up in this video. Okay, it is still April. I just checked across much of Northwest Indiana. In fact, all of Northwest Indiana, but it's not going to be feeling like it tonight and tomorrow morning. I think this may be our last snow, though. We'll talk more of that here coming up in a second. But first of all, I want to thank you all for joining us here on our Region Weather YouTube page. Make sure you hit subscribe. I say that because that's the way you can get updates when we go live or when we post a new video. Make sure you get up to date on the latest weather across the region. Also, planning on taking this thing live during severe weather events. It is a great resource to have where you can tune into someone local who's actually tracking Northwest Indiana storms, especially some of those severe storms and tornado storms. So make sure you subscribe. And let's get to the details here in terms of our incoming snow. So what you're looking at right now, this is the GO 16 satellite high res. I could stare at this thing all day and make it a screensaver, except for when you know what's going on underneath those clouds. That's when we have some problems. So there's our storm system getting going. You've seen those clouds increase here this evening across the region. We've got snow already breaking out as you get back towards areas of Iowa. Okay, let's go hour by hour through that forecast. Overnight tonight, you notice winter weather advisories have been hoisted for the region in anticipation of this snow. And here it comes from the west. It's really getting going now. We'll see the snow overspread as we go throughout the evening hours, areas of Illinois. Notice the rain mix at the beginning of this. I totally agree with that. As the atmosphere, once these raindrops start falling into it, we've got some dry air in place. And as that water falls into our dry air, it tends to evaporate at the onset of precip. And the evaporation process is actually a cooling process. When something evaporates, it cools the air. That's why when you sweat in the summertime, your body feels cooler, right? It's a cooling process. So as those raindrops fall into our Northwest Indiana atmosphere here this evening and overnight, they're going to cool it, and that brings the temperatures down, and that changes the rain quickly over to snow as the temperatures fall. So kind of interesting there. That is called evaporative cooling for all those weather geeks out there. You didn't know you were getting a weather lesson, did you? But I would expect maybe some raindrops at first mixed with the snow. It should change over to all snow after that. You're now looking at 1 o'clock in the morning. We've got a pretty decent band of snow working through the region as this little narrow swath of snow continues off to the east. I think our heaviest snowfall rates are here. I think most models agree on that. Most forecasters agree on that. Somewhere between 1 a.m. and about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, right where that rain changes over to snow, that's where you tend to get some of your heaviest rates. So that's the difference in some of these snowfall accumulation forecasts is where exactly does that set up across the area? Does it set up in Newton and Jasper counties? That's what the models are favoring. But I've seen storm systems that have set up just a further north than that. You tend to get a band of forcing or extreme uplift in the atmosphere to form perhaps over LaPorte County. We could see higher totals there. So that's why we're going to go with a general 3 to 5 inches across the area. That's what we've been going with over the last couple days. Could we see some higher amounts? We could if we see that banding set up or that little localized area of some really good uplift. We could certainly see more than that, but I'm going to kind of coat the whole area in 3 to 5 inches. Some of you may end up with 2 inches. Some of you, again, more than 5, but I think 3 to 5 ought to do it. And I have an accumulation forecast I agree with here in just a second. But bottom line, we're going back towards tomorrow morning. This is your wake-up time, still dealing with some snow, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it quickly clears out. I think all of this is out of here by noon tomorrow. I think that'll be kind of the cutoff. And it's going to be, it's going to be white. Everything's going to be pasted in the morning. But this stuff is going to melt fast. It is April. I think that sun comes out later in the day and melts things away. It will be just drip dropping as we go throughout your Friday afternoon. And you see that system now heading east into areas of Ohio. All right, so let's talk about how much we're expecting. We already said a general 3 to 5 inches or so. And that's kind of a blanket coating of some heavy wet snow. But this is the model I agree the most with. Notice the bullseye back towards areas of Iowa, western Illinois. That's where we're expecting some of the most uplift from this system as it kind of wraps up, that low pressure does. And then another little bullseye east of here. Does it fill in? That's the big question mark. Do we get one of those bullseyes over the region? Again, computer models aren't perfect. The system's very complex, as systems are. We could see some banding set up in the area. We could see dry air come in. But bottom line, I think the trend is right on with this. That's why we're going with 3 to 5 inches across the region. Could some of you see 2-inch category? Sure. But the thing going against us is the fact this is going to fall at night, so we don't have that daytime heating, so not a lot of this is going to melt. But the thing we have for us is that it will be daytime after it ends, and everything's going to melt. Maybe not all of it tomorrow, but it's going to be pretty drip-droppy as we go into the afternoon. Models are tending to say Newton, Jasper, even Stark counties will get the most out of this. I can't quite agree with that yet because we could see that banding set up to the north. So if you're watching this video from Lakeport or LaPorte County, it doesn't mean the storm's going to miss you. You have a better chance of dry air working in, so that would lower your totals. But overall, I think you stand pretty much an equal chance at that 3 to 5 inch category. Maybe higher in spots. I don't want to overdo it. Speaking of late season snows, so we talked about it. Our average last snow here in the region is April 3rd. The latest it's ever snowed has been May 11th. And last year, if you remember, April 27th was our last snow. So well beyond today, we had 2.5 inches of snow then. But some of the biggest late season snows, just going back into history, we've had some of them, but we may end up, if we get 3+ inches of snow, that would make this one of the highest last snows of the season. So just going back in time, 2010, we had a 2.5 inch total on April 25th. Back in 1967, on April 23rd, which is beyond today, we had a 3.1 inch total. And then our biggest late season snow was actually today, many years ago. Back in 1961, we had a 5.4 inch total, and that combined with tomorrow as well. I think it kept going overnight, and we ended up with about 5.7 inches out of that. So if we get anywhere over 3 inches of snow, this will make this one of the biggest late season snows that we've had in a while. Now I want to answer that question for you on, is this the last snow of the season? What do you guys think? Hear your collective groans out there. You know, I really do think this is going to be our last snowfall of the season that accumulates. The American model, the GFS, actually brings a warm-up, but then it brings a couple very quick hits of 30 and 40 degree weather in here over the next couple weeks. Some of that may have some snowflake activity with it, but I'm optimistic. Last year was the first year I called it in terms of when the last snow was going to be. I think this may be our last snow as well. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. I think this is our last snow in the region, so hopefully that makes it a little bit more enjoyable for you tomorrow as you see it falling in the morning hours. Let's talk temperatures. So this is our warm-up. I'm going to go over the next 10 days. Let's take a look. Here are your predicted high temperatures tomorrow. And again, that snow falling brings cold air down. The snow is cold, so that'll keep us in the 30s for much of the day, but above freezing, so a lot of that will melt. As we go through time, this is your Saturday. Not bad. I think low 50s. It may be a little bit cooler than what the model's suggesting just because we will have some snowpack. And models this time of year think we don't have any snowpack because we probably shouldn't have it, right? But I think we'll be in the 50s. We'll have some sunshine on Saturday. Sunday looks pretty good. We are going to have some showers around, but we'll make it up into the 50s to near 60 in areas down to the south. And then we're just going to fast forward this baby. You can see as we're going into your Monday, not bad. We're in the 50s to near 60 again. Coolest off towards the east. Here comes a nice warm up on Tuesday. There'll be a lake breeze. That wind will be out of the north, so it'll be cooler near the lake, but warmer down to the south. And bottom line, don't focus on these numbers a whole lot. Just focus on the trend. We have a lot more oranges and yellows on here as we go over the course of next week on into next weekend than what we've been seeing. So are we done with the snow? I think so, given a look at the models. Are we going to be in the 60s to near 70 all next week? I can't guarantee that, but it's definitely going to be more spring-like around here as we go into next week. All right, thanks for joining us on this video, everybody. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. We may try a live update tonight just to track some snow for you. We'll see if that works. Pretty sure it will. Technology never fails, right? Thanks again for joining us. Have a great night, everybody.